This is highest hill of Paris. It's Montmartre. It's all about stairs here. Things are a little bit hard to reach everywhere. This is kind of the culture of the neighborhood that we wanted to celebrate. This is our take on climbing, and so it's kind of a hike, a little trip, a little rock climbing. Not that this is hard to climb up, but it's kind of a hike. Here's a bedroom. It's kind of little retreat. One of the main things we need to do is to provide access to the mezzanine, obviously. So it started from the design of the stair. And then I kind of thought that, there was an opportunity to do more. And that's the longest wall, that's the longest stretch of the space. So it's actually doing many different things all at once. So stairs, as I just said, it's the access to the kitchen that you can privatize. The entrance is right there, so it's nice to also be able to close it off, and then it kind of completes it. So it's a circulation. You also have a sort of interior window that provides natural light to the circulation that's behind. You have that corridor, and you can see all the way through the other side of the building. So this, it's also stored little closet. Here, the owner, she works in fashion, so there's a lot of clothing and storage stored under the steps of the stair, which are pretty deep, all the way down.
Oh wow, went all the way through.
Yes.
Great. A lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, just like many cities, there's never enough storage. That's another part of that object. And then you have an office that she used to use. She since then moved to her own office, but now I think her boyfriend works here. He's a filmmaker. So there's a small desk and then many hard drives. So that's another thing. At the time, really, the spaces was a little cluttered because the owner used a lot of recesses to store things, and she was kind of tired of seeing all that kind of polluting her daily life. This is a walk-up building, and it's a 7-story building, so obviously the upper floors were the less desirable. The elevator kind of broke off that distinction. But at the time, really, the upper floor, the less desirable ones were for maids. Where we are is what you see, the tin roofs on every other Paris building on the other side. Because we're on the top floor and we're under the roof, there's these slanted roofs that are typical of Paris that create recesses, a lot of dead space. And also, the higher you go in those buildings, the more chimney ducts you have. From here to here, you have pretty much, you have 6 floors, 2 apartments per this side of the floor, so you have probably 12 little clay tubes that go all the way up to the roof. So you end up with those really residual spaces. This one is really tiny, and when they're not used, they're great because they're an opportunity to integrate storage and make it seamlessly integrated. But without those, it's really a dark space. Pretty much every single wall in this apartment has those chimney ducts. You have them here. There's a lot of little recesses and little nooks in the kitchen. We were hiding them with the cabinets. So here you kind of have like a half depth, 30 centimeter deep, another half deep, and here there's a chimney flue behind this. Here there's because we're under the roof, the slanted roof, there's in between the windows and the wall, a lot of recesses, a lot of dead space that we use to create storage. This is kind of a bedroom that's tucked away, but right there at the same time. You can speak to somebody in the living room, but people in the living room won't see you. Except if you kind of align with that slot here that was actually designed that way. I could be wearing my underwear and still say hello to guests in my apartment. It was important to create privacy for this space, which is a bedroom, but not completely cut it off from the rest of the apartment. So the strategy was to use that slot, that little crack, and to kind of control so that it's just wide enough, but not too wide for being able to see all the way down the living room and even down the street through the window. It's kind of like your little retreat, and you go look for birds from here while hiding.
Yeah, actually that reminds me of a tree, the trunk, the branches almost, no? Or...
Yes. So that's kind of the part of the building that was not accessible previously. This was just the attic, and we opened it up. The ceiling used to be right under that beam.
Wow, so you gained a lot of space up here then. I mean, that's...
That mezzanine. But you can, it's almost a fully functional bedroom because you have, so this is the extension of the big piece of furniture you have downstairs.
Okay.
So this thing stands into drawers, and you can see that bedroom is actually functioning at the moment. More of that and more of that. Pretty well organized. So here, obviously a handrail was required so people don't fall from the mezzanine onto the living room, but then that would kind of prevent the light from coming down. What we did is we kind of thickened that handrail to about 2.5 feet, and we lowered it. And so it's a bench. You can again have conversation from your tree hut. So here is another example of those recesses you find on the top floors of typical Paris apartments. Here, that's a wall that's probably for a chimney. And when you don't have the chimney anymore, you have extra depth, so you have an opportunity for closet space. Here, this part is actually deeper, even deeper than here. Here, maybe you have a half depth, you have 30 centimeter, and right here, you have a full 60 centimeter, 24 inches. So you have enough for hangers. That's the only part where you have that full depth. Then here you have a little less, and it pretty much everywhere we could put storage, we did. Here, because of the bed, this actually tablet here opens. This is kind of 45 centimeter deep, and this is 60, this is 30, and this is another in between. There's so much going on here, I don't even know what's behind, but this is, I mean, this is not your everyday storage. This is more for winter storage. This is not something you're gonna use every day, I think, but it's always nice to have it. Okay. And of course those stairs, and you can use it in many ways. Actually, you know, it's been, you know, used many ways when there's parties here. There's kind of a lineup of people sitting all the way up, and they're very much part of the party. Integrated storage, and this is kind of the most sculptural part of the design. Plays with the idea of mass a little bit. Those round edges, I think, contribute to that.
I mean, is that difficult to do?
That's very simple. That's MDF. That's painted, so it looks massive, but it's all hollow, so that there's still storage in it. And then for the round edges, it's a very thin piece of MDF that's bent, so it's also hollow. MDF is kind of a mix of, it's kind of a residue of wood processing, wood dust, you could say, with glue.
So it's a affordable material. I mean,
oh, yeah. Oh, here everything's affordable. I mean, in a good way. We did it on a shoestring. So here, again, like for the living room, there was little nooks and crannies everywhere. We had like a chimney block here that was, you know, dark. It was a little chaotic. And my client just didn't feel like it was hers. She didn't feel like it was her personality. So it was about making it fun. Or maybe I saw the program on TV and somebody was giving the rules of how to design interiors. That floor needs to be neutral so that furniture can stand out. So I just thought, wow, what a great idea to just do kind of the opposite. So it's as quiet and neutral as possible for the walls. The appliances are integrated, everything sort of disappears, and it disappears to give room for the floor. For this specific design, I think we got inspiration from the owner's daily life. She's a fashion trend consultant, and she looks at color swatches all day. It was, the idea of stripes of colors. We ordered the material for the floor, which is a natural rubber, and we cut little slices of it and rearranged them in 40 different ways. We just spent maybe like 3 weeks playing with different arrangements of colors. It was fun. We just didn't really want to stop, I think. The kitchen was long enough so that you didn't really have the need for upper cabinets. And when we could, those little nooks I mentioned earlier, we actually have cabinets, just not in a common place. They're really integrated. That's the advantage of those nooks. Here you have the electrical panel. And this wall, we kind of wanted it to disappear, but it actually contains a lot. Here you have little pantry, that's a shallow one. Here you have the access panel to the valve for the toilet. Here, little bar. And this gets a little deeper for the appliances. So we had room for an oven, microwave, and under those we actually have an integrated laundry machine that's also a dryer. So you can do everything there. Here we again have a little deeper space, so we have room for the fridge, the freezer. Okay.
You wouldn't know where those things were.
That's the dishwasher. I forgot. I was
You
trying
thought
to
they were
open a
drawers.
drawer.
That's great.
It's good brain workout.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
No, but if you live here, of course
You know where things are, yeah. That's great. That's space.
The countertop here is stainless steel that is vibrated, brushed. It's a special treatment so that it takes the scratches much better. It's all in one piece, but it was actually welded in place and you could never tell where the seam is. It was welded so perfectly. This would never go up the 7-story walk-up. So the kitchen extends as more countertop for cooking and also maybe a little breakfast table. The steel is kind of what defines that area because you also have the same steel as for the countertop. In this soffit, you have it again with the hood, and here it's all integrated. The sink is integrated, and this is a nice little detail. If you want to wash it, you're gonna lift it up. So the water seeps through the grill and drips down to the sink. In France, every elementary school's a little soap holder. This is really old-fashioned. I think it's been around since the 30s. I know it's kind of evocative to most French people. And then here we have close to the window, close to the natural light, and also with this artificial light that has the temperature that's good for plants, we have what we call the vertical garden. In order to water the plants, you just take the pot out, just fill up the clay tank that's in the back, and once you're done, put it back in the wall, turn a little bit. They're very easy to take in and out.
Yeah.
You could have spices, you could use them to cook. You can just pick some little basil here and put in your chicken right there. Okay? And then in terms of light, here in the bathroom there was this great skylight window facing south, so very bright, but because this was partitioned off, this was completely opaque, the living room was not that bright. So we thought that, hey, how about using those partitions, replace them with something that could diffuse light, like sanded glass, and use it like a lampshade, like a giant diffuser. And at night you can actually get the artificial light from the bathroom. So here I'm in the bathroom. It's double height and it gets natural light from the skylight. And from here you can see the self-sustained structural glass, the structural glass channels, and you can see where they get their strength from. It's because their profile is a C, a channel, and so that's why they don't need any frame or mullions or any support whatsoever. And enough light to grow some little plants. As you come out of the bathroom, that same closet you had access to from the living room, you can also reach from here, grab something to go back to the bathroom with and just wear on. And on top of it, you have that interior window from which you can see the street here. It's a little thing. You have beams of light piercing through the apartment. And you also have a little detail. So you just come in here and you have that little niche where you just drop your keys or your leftover coins, and if you want even a little bit more storage, you can have access to that. That's a workout bar that was not initially part of the project. It's very useful and healthy. Display is another thing. The owner have some, she has some objects she wanted to be able to show, and she likes plants, so that's another part of that object. We really try to take the most out of every little leftover space as much as possible. Here we wasted a little bit of space because the flue actually here is still empty. So we're just wasted. You can see from the plinth here, that from the wall base that we didn't touch, we just lost that much space, that much storage. So we lost a little bit here, but that's one of the few spots where we actually did. That's kind of the beauty of small apartments, little details, and so that's what makes the character of this space.